I had a drug court session going on, so when they came in, they're not tardy or anything, they were here. But, so, we haven't gone on record yet. I just explained to them that you folks have been in here, but at any rate, we're good. Are you ready? Everybody's ready? Okay. All right, then the record will reflect the presence of counsel for the parties. The defendant is present, the jury is present, our witnesses return to the witness stand, and you understand that you're still under oath?
Yes.
Very good, thank you. You may continue your examination.
Thank you. Mr. Earl, I think where we left off at, you were discussing the items that that you would have shipped out to the JPAC. And in total, can you list those items for us?
Sure. Again, it was the 2 fragments of jawbone, lower jawbone with the teeth intact or inserted into it. Then there were 2 loose teeth that were collected on another time. And then there were 2 other bone fragments, and then a third bone fragment.
And the third bone fragment, as far as the size go, was it different or the same as the 2 that you just mentioned?
They were all similar, but different shape.
And I'm going to show you. You already testified to this earlier, but showing you Street Exhibit. Which was that 2? I'm showing you States Exhibits 294 and 295, which is already in evidence. You know, may I approach with these?
You may do so.
And showing counsel is already in evidence. And the other, maybe Mr. Earl step down and approach the table that's in front of
You may do so. Okay, now if you could just move that and just show it to the jury one more time. Again, are these the 2 pieces of jaw or mandible that you submitted? And don't remove them from the plastic bags.
Okay.
And if you can tell us which one you're holding up first.
Okay, sorry. 294. That is the left, mark number 7.
Okay, then can you just hold up and show to the ladies and gentlemen, please? Now, what's in Exhibit 294? Are all of the pieces intact at this point?
No, there seems to be a little small fragment of bone in there as well.
When you submitted that to JPAC, was it completely intact?
Yes. Remember, there was quite a bit of flesh and tissue, so I mean, I didn't disturb that. So.
Okay. And
You know, I do recall how you coded this, and you know the markers you used, and you referred to this as earlier in your testimony as left mark number 7. But maybe we should be able to use a fully descriptive term.
thank you.
I understand what you're saying, and I know how it relates back to the original markers, but just for the record, maybe could you just spell out what that is.
Okay. It's the left lower jawbone fragment with teeth.
And then
That you originally marked at the scene as
Yes, as marker number 7. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
no, thank you. And when you say marker number 7, are you referring to the yellow tech marker that you placed at the scene at Wailuku?
Yes, the photo markers.
And can you hold up the next one, please? That's
Sure.
295.
295. And this is the right lower jawbone fragment with teeth.
Okay. And how did you mark that at Wailuku when you recovered that?
This was marked with photo marker number 2.
And what, if any, difference do you see there versus when you first sent it to a JPAC?
Well, it's been cleaned off. It's very clean. And now some of the teeth are starting to come loose from the actual bone.
Okay. Was it intact when you sent it?
Yes, it was.
And I'll show you what, we are showing council what has been marked for identification. And these are 2 bone fragments. One bone fragment is going to be marked as State's Exhibit 309, and the identifying property number is 42379. The other bone fragment is going to be marked for identification as, the other tooth is going to be marked as State's Exhibit 297.
There's something, let's just pick new numbers because there's a total of let's just go with this. 395 and 396.
The other, I'll strike that.
Yep, and 397.
I'm showing council what has been marked as State's Exhibits 395, 396, and 397. I'll iterate approach with these.
You may do so.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Rose, I'm showing you what has been marked for identification. If you can go and take it to the desk up here. State's Exhibits 395 and 396 correspond to the 2 teeth. Under 395 corresponds with the last 3 numbers 709, and 396 corresponds with the number 711. 397 will be for the bone fragment under corresponding number 710.
Okay.
And if you could remove the contents and take a look at that.
Okay.
Okay, do you recognize that, or those items?
Yes, I do.
Okay, starting with State's Exhibit 395, what are you looking at?
Okay, so again, numbers, so many numbers. What was 395? Was the 709?
Was the 709? Right?
Okay, so 709 is a single tooth.
Okay, do you recognize the single tooth?
Yes, I do.
Is that one of the teeth that you submitted to JPAC back on March 24th, 2014?
Yes, it was.
And in looking at that, can you tell us how was it that you retrieved that tooth before sending it to JPAC?
Okay, so I received this tooth, actually these 3 pieces of evidence from Detective Wendell Liu on March 14.
And did you have it in your custody from March 14th to the time you sent it to JPAC?
Yes, I did.
And turning your attention to State's Exhibit 396, that's under PCN number 711.
711. Okay, that is again another individual tooth.
And do you recognize that individual tooth?
Yes, I do.
And how is it that you recognize that tooth?
Because it's the one that was depicted in my photographs earlier.
And is that the other one that you sent to JPAC?
Yes, it is.
And you already testified that's one of the ones that you received from Detective Wailuku back on March 14th,
Yes.
of 2014.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
turning your attention to State's Exhibit 397, marked with identification under PCN number 710.
Okay. And this is a small bone fragment.
Now, do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
And how is it that you recognize that?
Again, this is the one that I photographed before, and then it is the one that I shipped out to JPAC.
And is that the one that, prior to lunch, you had previously seen on the, I guess, the monitor?
No, sir.
That one you got?
Correct.
Do those two teeth that's in State's Exhibit 395 and 396 marked for identification, do they accurately represent the teeth that you sent over to JPAC on March 24th, 2014?
Yes, they do.
And how about the bone fragment in State's Exhibit 397 marked for identification?
Yes, it does.
Have they been changed or altered in any way?
The bone fragment looks cleaner. The tooth look nearly the same condition.
Now, did you mark those yourself with the packaging on that to?
No.
Not the packaging there, but packaging prior to that?
No, I did not.
Other than being cleaner, are there any other significant differences in those three items?
Doesn't appear to be any.
Your Honor, this time the state would move it to evidence State's Exhibits 395, 396, and 397.
Mr. Poe?
Your Honor, may I take a look at the packaging before?
Yes.
See the chain of custody?
Sure. It's attached to this outer bag. This is the description, and then there's the chain.
No objection.
State's Exhibits 395, 396, and 397, marked for identification purposes, are received in evidence.
And your permission to publish those.
Granted.
Thank you. So, Mr. Earl, if you could step down and
You
show.
may sit down.
Thank you.
Beginning with State's Exhibit 395.
And this is 709, correct? I just wanted to make sure. Ending in 709?
It's, PCN's number 709.
Okay, thanks. Show these. One side of the.
And your permission to publish on the screen State's Exhibit 248A, which corresponds to this piece of evidence.
Commissioner.
Thank you. And Mr. Earl, if I could direct your attention to the monitor behind you. Is that the corresponding tooth under the PCN number 709?
Yes, it is.
I mean, the numbers are right there on the.
The numbers are here, yes. And you can see the similarity in the feeling.
Okay, can you next show State's Exhibit 396? And the PCN number 711.
Okay, so this is the second individual tooth.
And your permission to publish State's Exhibit 253, which is a corresponding photograph.
Granted.
Thank you. And no, just 251. Do you have Exhibit 251? And you're showing council what has been marked with identification of State's Exhibit 251. Marked with identification. And showing council what has been marked with identification of State's Exhibits 252 and 253. Those are the two. Yeah, may I approach Mr. Rose with these exhibits?
You may.
Thank you. Mr. Rose, showing you State's Exhibits 251 to 253 inclusive, please take a look at those.
Okay.
Okay, do you recognize State's Exhibit 251?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
251 is a close-up photograph of a bone fragment ending in property control number 710.
Is that one of the, is that the bone fragment you refer to as sending, or first of all, receiving from Detective Wailuku on, I guess, was it March 4th? Yeah, March 14th of 2014.
Yes.
And does it actually, does that photograph accurately depict the bone fragment when you received it from Detective Wailuku?
Yes, it does.
Has that been changed or altered in any way?
No, it does not.
Your Honor, this time the state will move into evidence State's Exhibit 251 marked for identification.
No objection, Your Honor.
State's Exhibit 251, so marked for identification purposes, is received in evidence.
And please, Mr. Rose, take a look at State's Exhibits 252 and 253.
Okay.
Can you recognize those?
Yes, I do.
And what are they?
They are close-up photographs of a single tooth, but showing two different sides of the tooth.
Okay, and what is it about the tooth that you recognize?
The property control number ending in 711
Okay,
in the image.
all right, and is that one of the teeth that you would have received from Detective Wailuku back on March 14, 2014?
Yes, it was.
And the same one that you would have, one of the two that you would have submitted to or sent to JPAC?
Yes, it is.
Okay, are those pictures accurate depictions of that tooth? That's under your PCN number 711.
Yes, they are.
Or have they been altered or changed in any way?
Do not appear to be.
Your Honor, this time the state would move into evidence State's Exhibits 252 and 253 marked for identification.
Mr. Akakū,
No objection.
State's Exhibits 252 and 253, marked for identification purposes, are received in evidence.
And Your Honor,
You may
permission to
publish.
publish. Thank you. May Mr. Earl step down?
Yes, you may step down.
Okay, Mr. Earl, let's start with Case Exhibit 251, which is the evidence. Okay, what are we looking at here?
So 251 is a close-up photograph of the bone fragment, and again with all of its soil and dirt still in place, and then a close-up scale showing the property control number ending in 710.
Okay, and turning your attention to Case Exhibit 397, which corresponds to PC number 710. Can you hold that up in front of the ladies and gentlemen here and show us what that is?
Sure. So we get it so you can see it. There's one side.
Thank you, Mr. Earl.
Yes.
So if you could put that together with the
Corresponding.
corresponding identification markers, please.
Can I just verify that 395 is the
709.
Okay. And 397 is 710.
Right.
Do I need to staple them to the appropriate line?
No, if you could just have it, you just separate it the way you have it now, turn it into the clear.
We need to put it back in the original bag.
Yes.
And then that one as well.
Yeah, just repackage it.
And here are those.
And your assuring counsel what has been marked as Case Exhibit 398 and 399. May I approach you, Honor?
You may.
Mr. Earl, I'm showing you what has been marked for identification as Case Exhibits 398 and 399. Please take a look at those on the desk in front of you.
Okay.
And beginning with 398, do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
And what is it that you recognize about it?
This is a bone fragment that I recovered actually on February 15, 2014, out at Nue'alua area.
And did you designate that a marker?
Yes, I did.
What marker did you designate that as?
This was designated as marker J in my photographs.
And I'm sorry, what was the date of that again?
On the 15th of February.
So that was a Saturday.
Correct.
In fact, did you testify earlier that the markers on Friday were numbers and the markers on Saturday were letters?
Yes, sir.
Does that accurately depict the bone fragment that you recovered back on Saturday, February 15th of 2014?
Yes, it does.
Is it in the same condition as when you recovered it?
Actually, it looks cleaner.
Other than being cleaner, is it in substantially the same condition?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, this movement to evidence states exhibit 398 marked for 10. 398 marked for identification.
Mr. Armstrong?
No objection.
State's Exhibit 398, marked for identification purposes, is received in evidence.
And Mr. I was looking at State's Exhibit 399,
Okay.
marked for identification.
Okay.
Do you recognize what that is?
Yes, I do. This is a bone fragment that I received and was actually recovered by someone else, but I shipped this out to JPAC as one of the bone fragments.
Does it show how you received it?
Possibly on the electronic chain.
Okay, when you say possibly an
I'm sorry.
electronic chain, what does that mean?
Well, because the physical chain where I signed it over to the FedEx box for shipment is the first entry. So before that was something else that the officer submitted it.
Okay, so where did you get it from then? Did you get it from the evidence storage, or did you get it from the field?
You know, I don't recall. It was stored in Hana, it looks like. At the Hana station.
Okay, and looking at that, what are you looking at? Did you say what it was yet?
It's just a bone fragment.
Is that the bone fragment that you received and submitted to JPAC?
Yes, it is.
And is it in substantially the same condition as when you received it and sent it out to JPAC?
Yes, it is.
Are there any differences?
It looks a little cleaner, but
Other than being cleaner, are there any other differences?
no.
Your Honor, this time the state will move it to evidence states exhibit 399.
Mr. Armstrong?
Just a quick thought here, Your Honor.
Proceed.
Mr. Earls, based on your training and experience, is there an unexplainable break in the chain of custody relative to that item?
I can answer, only can tell you what I had written on here. And that was when I actually submitted it to the FedEx box.
And so I guess my question would be then, typically there would be a chain of custody that would follow every hand that touched that, and there would be a signature evidencing every hand that touched that. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
And is it your testimony that relative to that particular piece of item, there is no such chain of custody prior to your touching that item?
Well, and I did mention there is an electronic one. When a piece of evidence is submitted as evidence, it is documented electronically by the computer system. And that also does not print on this particular piece of paper where all the handwriting is.
And I'm sorry, did you say that did print on that one? Or
It does not, no.
Okay, so bottom line is we have no idea where that piece of item came from prior to you touching that? Is that accurate? Or you wouldn't have no knowledge?
I cannot attest to correct.
No further questions.
I do have a question. Is there a way to track that though and find out where the bone fragment we're talking about at this point, to track where it came from and how you eventually got a hold of it?
Yes, again, the electronic detail that the computer logs, every time that it's actually from when it's intaken by the person to where it goes from each time.
Just subject to follow-up, based on that, the state will move into evidence State's Exhibit 399, which has been marked for identification.
All right. Yeah, just in the interest of time, do you have that electronic record?
We are in the process of getting that.
Okay.
We got the other ones accepted.
All right, so we'll await further developments on that. I'll reserve them.
Okay, thank you. Now, Mr. Earls, at some point, after sending the items that you just mentioned, and this would, well, after sending these items that we went over, you shipped it to JPAC. Did you receive the items back?
Yes, I did.
And can you tell us how that occurred?
Sure, I received a FedEx package and again signed it from the sealed FedEx box to myself.
And does it show when you received it, when you got the items back?
Yes, it does.
And can you tell us when, please?
Okay, it was packaged to FedEx on May 6 of 2014, and then I received it from FedEx on May 11 of 2014.
And that's all the individual items that you've taken a look at today, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Your may approach to
You may.
receive that. Thank you. These need to be refrigerated.
Yes.
All the bone stuff needs to be refrigerated. So they can Is that lunch? Should I do that there? Your Honor, at this time, the state is requesting permission to publish what is in evidence of State's Exhibit 236 and 238. And may Mr. Earl step down.
Yes, and you may publish. You may sit down.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Earl, I'm showing you State's Exhibit 236. Do you recognize this picture?
Yes, I do.
And who took this picture?
I did.
And what are we looking at there?
Okay, this is a close-up of a bone fragment that I recovered at Wailuku Bay on the 15th. That would be item marker J in the photograph.
Okay, so you testified earlier when you looked at State's Exhibit 398, which was a bone fragment marked as J. Is this the same one?
Is that the one we just finished with?
You marked it as J.
Yes, okay, yes.
And looking at State's Exhibit 237.
Okay, this is just another view of the same bone.
And State's Exhibit 238.
Okay, 238 is just the bone fragment has been flipped over, so it's another view of the other side, the opposite side.
And again, this is the same bone fragment that you marked as letter J
Correct,
on last Saturday.
correct.
Okay. And turning your attention to the large bone shape. And you have permission to publish Space Exhibit 243 and 245, which is in evidence.
Permission granted.
Okay, show me Space Exhibit 243. What are we looking at here?
Okay, this is a photograph of a bone fragment taken in the morgue, close-up photograph.
Okay, and what, if anything, do you recognize about this bone fragment? Or what, if anything, did you do with this bone fragment?
This is one that was also shipped to JPAC as in part of the whole package.
And is this the bone fragment that you viewed in Space Exhibit 399?
Is that the one we
Give it
just?
back to you.
Is that the one we just did?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
And Space Exhibit 244.
Okay, and this is just the flip side of the bone, so it's just an opportunity to see close up the bone on the other side.
Okay, please have a seat. Okay, Mr. Earls, what I want to do is now take you to your evidence recovery on, this would be Friday. You testified earlier that you and Wailuku were called to the scene at Wailuku area. And I think prior to that, you testified that you're at a residence belonging to Charlie Scott. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Now, let's start at that point. At Charlie Scott's residence, who were you with again?
That was Detective Wendell Liu, and the landlord was there, as well as Charlie Scott's mother.
And at that residence, did you recover any items?
Yes, I did.
And was this, approximately what time was this?
It was around noon on the 14th.
And can you tell us which items you recovered at Charlie Scott's residence?
Okay. So in the kitchen, refrigerator, freezer was actually a toothbrush that was, it had the little square plastic cover over the bristly part inside the freezer of the house. And then further in the house, there were some clothes hampers, recovered a bandana with some long red hairs, some curlers. Again, it had some long red hairs on them. Then we also, in the bedroom, I think it was, we recovered some personal clothing that looked like it had been worn, like an underwear bottom and sports bra. And then in the bathroom, which was on a separate structure, it was not attached to the house, the bathroom stall had several items, such as there was like a rough glove that was in there, and then there was a pumice stone, and then there was, I think there was like a back scrubber kind of thing as well, and then a pair of soiled underwear in the bottom of the shower stall.
Now, all these items you just mentioned, did you recover them?
Yes, I did.
And what was your purpose for recovering these items at Charlie Scott's residence?
So the idea was to try to obtain DNA standards or knowns for the missing person, Miss Charlie Scott.
When you say DNA standards are known, are you referring to DNA samples
Yes.
for Charlie Scott?
Yes.
And then did you mention a toothbrush?
Yes, that was in the freezer.
do you have a reason why a toothbrush would be in the freezer?
I have actually seen that before in some places where there's bug problems. People don't want their toothbrush with bugs maybe to crawl on them, so they put it in the refrigerator or freezer.
And then you mentioned that at some point you and Detective Wailuku were called out to the Wailuku scene, is that correct?
Yes, we were.
And I think you already testified that at some point in the afternoon you two had arrived at the Wailuku scene.
Yes, sir.
And we went into some of the items that were recovered. Let's go into the physical items. Yeah.
Okay, so it's,
You know, this time the state will be showing council what has been marked for identification as state exhibits 76 to 80. Now may I approach?
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Rose, I'm showing you what has been marked for identification as State's Exhibit 76 through 80 in that sequence inclusive. Please take a look at those.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Do you recognize what those pictures represent?
Yes, I do.
Okay, first off, who took those pictures?
I did.
And where were they taken?
These were all taken in the forensic facility, evidence processing lab.
And you already testified previously that you had recovered, I guess, hair in certain areas at the New Wailuku scene back on Friday, February 14th of 2014. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And what do those pictures represent?
Okay. 76 through 79 depict the clumps of red hairs that were recovered on the 14th. And then 80 depicts the clump of red hairs that were recovered on the 15th.
And did you designate State's Exhibit 80 as a certain letter or number on the 15th?
Yes, on the 15th, that was letter photo marker L.
And when you say on the 15th, February 15th, this is of the year 2014?
Correct.
I'm going to show you briefly, I'm going to permission to publish State's Exhibit 129A before we go into the photographs.
All right.
And that's already
Proceed.
in evidence. Thank you. So you can stay there, Mr. Rose. Show me State's Exhibit 129A. Do you see the markers that are depicted there?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What do these markers represent?
Okay. So there are photo markers 2, 3, under the brush is a 4, and then 5, and then in the far back is number 6. Number 2 is the right lower portion of a jawbone with teeth. Number 3, 4, and 5 were clumps of red hairs. And then number 6 is the black bra.
And the exhibits that, State's Exhibits 76, 77, 78, and 79, you testified those are clumps of hair, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And do those clumps, are those the clumps of hair that you recovered that was shown in State's Exhibit 129A on the numbers that you mentioned, 3, 4, 5?
Correct.
And do they, can you tell us how is it that you photograph those exhibits shown in 76 through 79?
Okay, so once the hairs had dried, I was actually, I laid them carefully onto a clean piece of paper, put a disposable scale, and made sure I write the number of the particular photo marker, so that way there was no confusion as to which is which, and then packaged them individually.
And do those State's Exhibits 76 through 79, do those accurately depict the hair that you photographed as well as recovered back on, let's start with the Friday, February 14th, 2014.
Yes, they do.
Your Honor, this time the state would move into the State's Exhibits 76, 77, 78, and 79, marked for identification.
Mr. Upwell. State's Exhibits 76, 77, 78, and 79, marked for identification purposes, are received in evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Mr. Rose, looking at State's Exhibit 80, you testified earlier that you designated that as letter L, recovered on February 15, 2014, is that right?
Yes, it is.
And does that accurately depict the hair that you when did you photograph that hair?
Originally on the 15th of February of 2014 at photo marker L.
Okay. The photograph you're looking at, though, is that a photograph at the forensic laboratory? Or at the
Yes, this is after it's already dried, so this is in the evidence processing laboratory.
Does it accurately depict the hair that you photographed that you recovered from February 15th, 2014?
Yes, it does.
And Your Honor, the state would move into evidence State's Exhibit 80.
No objection.
State's Exhibit 80, marked for identification purposes, is received in evidence.
And Your Honor, permission to publish.
Permission granted.
Okay, State's Exhibit 76, what are we seeing?
Okay, Exhibit 76 is the clump of hairs and the foliage debris that was associated, and it has been dried, and it is their marker number 1. As you can see it on the handwritten by me on the disposable paper scale, and this scale is in centimeters.
Okay, and I'm just going to show you what's already previously in evidence. Your Honor, permission to publish State's Exhibit 127, which is already in evidence.
Permission granted.
Okay, now do you see that was designated as State's Exhibit 1, is that correct?
Correct.
And is that the same, what's shown as State's Exhibit 127, is that the hair you recovered in State's Exhibit 76?
Yes, that is the hair, but that's actually in place at the scene off of Nu'ualoa Road.
I'll show you first. And next showing you State's Exhibit 77. And what are we seeing there?
Okay, this is the clump of hairs that were found at photo marker 3. Again, these have been air dried and these are in the laboratory.
Okay. And showing you State's Exhibit 78.
This is the clump of red hairs and foliage debris that were at photo marker number 4. But this is in the laboratory.
And State's Exhibit 79.
This is the long red hairs and debris that were recovered at photo marker number 5, and this photograph is taken in the laboratory.
Space exhibit 80.
80 is the clump of red hairs and foliage debris that was at photo marker L, which was taken on February 15 of 2014. This one, again, is depicted in the laboratory after it's dried.
And this is this something that you yourself recovered?
Yes, it is.
Oh, Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Three of those. Thank you. Your Honor, I'm showing council what has been marked as space exhibits 81 through 85 for identification. These are yours. These are yours. You don't need approach.
You may do so.
Okay, Mr. Rose, I'm going to show There's two, I guess, envelopes. One has hair, the other has debris. Is that correct?
Yes.
So show you space exhibit number 78, which corresponds with marker number 4.
Okay.
The debris that you see in States Exhibit 78, is that the debris that was separated in States from the hair in States Exhibit 83?
It appears to be, yes.
Your Honor, with this foundation, the state will move with evidence States Exhibits 82, 83, and 84.
No objection, Your Honor.
States Exhibits 82, 83, and 84, marked for identification purposes, are received in evidence.
Do you have a States Exhibit? Is there an 85 up there?
Yes, I do.
Okay, let's finish with that one.
Okay.
Please take a look at States Exhibit 85.
Okay.
Okay, and can you look at the contents there?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, can you describe the contents there?
Yes. There are 2 glassine containers. Again, looks like have been separated. The debris, miscellaneous debris, including soil and vegetable matter, separated from hair. And then this one says possible human head hair separated from soil and vegetable matter.
Okay, and I'm going to show you what's in evidence of States Exhibit 80. We just showed this a couple of minutes ago, but do you recognize that?
Yes, that's the photo of the debris and the hairs that I took in the laboratory.
Okay, and that's earmarked, or you marked it as with the letter L, is that correct?
Correct.
Now, States Exhibit 85, is that also marked with the letter L?
Yes, the original packaging that I used and had it sealed in is still enclosed.
And looking at the debris from this photograph, with the packaging that you described as a separate package for debris and a separate one for the hair, is it similar?
It seems to be, yes.
And Your Honor, with that to say, we'll move to evidence States Exhibit 85.
No objection.
States Exhibit number 85, marked for identification purposes, is received in evidence. Shall we take a recess now?
Please, Your Honor.
All right.
It is in recess.